So the first thing we're going to do is actually talk about how to save our files. And this is a bit of a weird system in Maya. It might be a little bit unusual, especially if you're coming from something like Photoshop, where whenever you save your files, they're a sort of single contained file, the .psd file that has all of your content and data in it. And that can move from computer to computer, and it'll open up and work just fine. Maya does not work that way. It works through a lot of sort of complex linking between multiple different files, especially whenever we start adding in textures. So it's good to build this habit of how you save your project initially. So I'm going to go up to File, Project Window, and within this project window, this is where I build up my project. And a project could be something like, I don't know, thousands of models, or a collection of models, or or just even one model if that's what you want to do. But a project is sort of your larger folder. And whenever you move to a different computer or whenever you submit things, you're going to zip your entire project folder. So by default, mine is saving to the Documents folder with the Maya Projects folder here. And I can click New to create a new project. So I'm going to give my project a name. I'll call it Project 1. And below here we have all of these different folders. You can just leave this as the default, but basically this is going to make a folder called Project 1 in your projects folder, and it's going to generate all of these other folders. So I'll say accept. And now if I go to Finder, I should be able to find that project within my documents and into my Maya folder and my projects folder. And then within that, I see my Project 1 folder and all of the files that were created, including this workspace.mel file. So all of this stuff gets created whenever we create a new project in Maya. We can always add content to this project. For instance, later we're going to add stuff to the source images folder. This is where we'll add our textures. But your 3D models, the base models that you're going to be making for this first assignment, is in your scenes folder, okay? So let's just test this out. I'm in this Maya projects folder. I'm going to go File, Save Scene As, and whenever I do that, it should immediately jump to that project folder if everything is set up correctly. And I'll call this Scene 1 or something like that, and hit Save. That was just a little pop-up telling me, hey, you're using the student version. That's fine. So now back in my project folder, if I go to the Project 1 folder, and in the Scenes folder, I have that Scene 1. As I save different models, they'll all populate this. So again, this is important to get this process down of whenever we first start Maya, we're going to create that project using the project window and clicking New, and then saving our scenes within that. We can have multiple scenes, so I could create a new scene, and then whenever I save this one, it'll save to that same folder, so I'll call this one Scene 2. So that's going to allow us to keep all of our files organized, and whenever you submit things for the assignment, what you're going to do, I'll show you how to do this on Mac, but on Windows it's basically the same process. You're going to find your project folder, so for me it's this Project 1 folder, so the folder that has all of your workspace content in it, and I'm just going to right-click it and say Compress. It'll create a little zip file, and this zip file is what I would submit. On Windows, it's basically the same process. You'll right-click, and depending on which version of Windows you have, you'll say Send To, and then you'll send it to a compressed folder, and it'll create this zipped folder. But this is the way that you'll submit your assignments. So making the projects with the project window, and then doing that. Let's quit out of Maya completely and reopen it and see if our project is still set, because sometimes some linking can get broken and we have to reset the project. So I'll show you that right now. Whenever I open up this Scene 2 file, it may not properly link it back to this project, and certain files can generate some issues whenever that happens. So I'll hit Continue, and let's just take a look. So let's say we create a new scene, and whenever we go to File, Save Scene, it did properly link, but I'm going to show you what happens if it doesn't link properly. You can go File, Set Project, and then within this, I can pick that Project 1 folder and say Set, and it'll reset my folder so that everything is 100% working. So that's the very basics, and now we're going to work within one of those scene files that we've created, and that's how we're going to generate our first 3D model.